Neno hili si hivyo. Mambo ni matatu.
Ladies and gentlemen, did Fred Matiang'i commit political suicide by joining Jubilee Party?
If you trust me and give me that opportunity, I will not let you down. I will not let you down. And I will not make excuses. Kuja kuambia stories wakati kazi imenishinda. Nianze kuambia kublame sijui huyu, nianze kusema sijui ni nani hapana. Munipea kazi na muniulize maswali. Nitakuwa tayari kujibu maswali. Mkinipea kazi, mimi nitakuwa pia tayari kujibu maswali yenu. Kwa hiyo kazi mtanipea.
I'm asking that question because before Fred Matiang'i returned back into the country, he was under a lot of pressure, particularly from the young people, to return back and contest. He returned back, gained momentum, but the moment he picked Jubilee, that momentum has slowed a bit. Why?
It's so exciting to see these young people, all of them young people, trained in Kenya, who have gone to Kenyan institutions, and all these people needed all along is courageous and visionary leadership to give them an opportunity to use the talent they have and the education they have acquired to serve their country. With each wrong decision we make as public leaders, and with every moment we succumb to middlemanism and the cartels, we deny these young people an opportunity to do what we have seen them do.
Which begs the question, was the move the biggest political blunder Fred Matiang'i ever committed? Because let's face it, if you are to look at the current political players who are running for the presidency, who has a better credentials than Fred Matiang'i?
Time for us to go back to common sense, honestly. If you have a government that has got a police department, why do you need to pay anyone to protect you? You have a right to do a business. You buy a matatu, you go to the road, you do business. You earn some money from it, you pay your loan, you look after your children and raise your family. Why do you need anyone to protect you? All these characters who go around by bus stops and so on, say, oh, you know, give us 100,000 so that we can protect you. We want to remove all those people so that investors in the public transport sector can actually earn their sweat. Number two, you know this, and I keep telling people every day. We, you know, don't forget one thing. We are also people who have families. How would you feel if your daughter, your sister, or your wife is being manhandled by some faceless characters at bus stops? The way they are touching our ladies all over, you know, hustling people. Would you want to live in that kind of society?
In this video, I want to explain to you guys why I think the move by Matiang'i to join Jubilee Party has slowed his momentum. Let me take you to some, was it yesterday or yesterday but one? The entire united opposition were in Murang'a, Kalonzo, Rigathi, Omalwa. Fred Matiang'i was not part of them. Why? The truth is, he's being isolated because of Rigathi Gachagua. On 27th, there were mini elections in the Republic of Kenya. Jubilee, as a political party, where he's a presidential candidate, did not sponsor a single candidate. I'm not so sure, but I want to assume because I did not see them celebrating a single win. Even in Nyamira, where Matiang'i supported a candidate of another party, Jubilee was nowhere. And I asked myself, if Matiang'i is a presidential candidate who is planning to run under Jubilee as a political party, what stopped him from using his party to stamp his authority, especially in Nyamira? Before I explain to you guys why I think Matiang'i committed that blunder, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to dive in because time is not on our side. Number one, by aligning himself with Jubilee Party, Fred Matiang'i created direct conflict with Rigathi Gachagua. Why? Because Rigathi Gachagua is currently Mount Kenya kingpin. Uhuru Kenyatta is the force behind Matiang'i. And Uhuru Kenyatta is the party leader, Jubilee party leader. There is no way Rigathi Gachagua was going to allow, there was no way, Jubilee party to thrive in Mount Kenya without a fight. Because if Jubilee were to thrive in Mount Kenya, it would mean that Rigathi Gachagua's political career was going to come to an end. That is exactly what has slowed down Fred Matiang'i. Remember, Rigathi will not be running for the presidency. He remains impeached. If he was not in competition with Rigathi in Mount Kenya, probably he would have placed himself in a situation where those stray bullets he's getting from Rigathi would not be there. That is the reality. And Uhuru Kenyatta's allies, people like Jeremiah Kioni, Wambugu Mujere, made the matters worse for Matiang'i. They were kind of attacking and fighting Rigathi Gachagua until Uhuru Kenyatta had to come out and warn them. Ladies and gentlemen, that direct confrontation has slowed him, because the idea of Matiang'i running was to get the core support of Mount Kenya. He's a national leader. I doubt if even someone like Kalonzo can compete with Matiang'i in Nyanza here in Western. He will easily get that. But he can only win the presidency with the support of the mountain. Because that's where William Ruto must be defeated completely for the opposition to win. As a matter of fact, because he joined Jubilee, Kalonzo has now been able to stamp his authority as the preferred candidate of the mountain. Number two, there is Jubilee baggage. The truth is, the reason why Matiang'i picked on Jubilee was because Rigathi wanted a situation where he was going to pick a party from the Gusii and then come with it to the negotiating table. Then he was going to be asked, where are your numbers? Then those numbers were going to be quoted. He didn't want to fall for that trap because that would have projected him as a tribal leader. But Jubilee had baggage. Majority of the young people who protested, who wanted Matiang'i to run, they don't want to be associated with Jubilee. That's the fact.
And there are those that feel you are an Uhuru Kenyatta project.
Let me ask you, Sam. You are an intelligent person, very well educated and experienced person. What does that actually mean in practical sense? There are many things that are bandied around. When I was younger, a little more impatient, I used to tell people, there are things that people tell you that when you sit back and analyze them, they wouldn't make sense even to a fool. What does that mean to be someone's project? What does that mean? It's an indelible historical fact that Uhuru Kenyatta appointed me to his cabinet, and I served in his cabinet for 10 years in 3 significant portfolios, and gave me additional responsibilities and so on. But by the way, cumulatively for the 10 years Uhuru was president, he appointed close to 30 or so people to his cabinet. Some of them are serving in cabinet to this day. Others have risen to other responsibilities and so on. So am I a project by dint of the fact that I served in Uhuru's cabinet? And if it's a question of service and so on, why are you not asking me if I'm World Bank's project? Because I've just come from the World Bank.
It's also very difficult, for example, for the ODM people who are allied or who are willing to support Matiang'i to now align with him in Jubilee. Most of them would have preferred a situation where they leave ODM and then they go to another political party. That is the fact, and those are the realities. And because of that, he's been punctured a bit. The question I keep on asking myself, why was Uhuru Kenyatta insisting that Matiang'i must run on Jubilee? Because remember, Uhuru Kenyatta himself was the chairperson of KANU. For him to win, he dumped KANU. That's a fact. And formed his own political party, TNA. Because by that time, most Kenyans did not want to associate with KANU. Those are the realities. So he had to dump KANU. Why is he forcing Matiang'i with Jubilee? Number 3, and this is the honest truth, Matiang'i has slowed down because his strategy is pegged around banking on Uhuru Kenyatta for his campaign. Uhuru Kenyatta is a former president, a very shrewd politician, but Uhuru Kenyatta probably is not that guy who would go out Remember when he handed over Jubilee to Matiang'i, he didn't really even hand over Jubilee. He appointed Matiang'i as the deputy party leader. And the idea was after that he was supposed to take Matiang'i to the mountain. Up to today, I'm still waiting to see the photos of Uhuru Kenyatta selling Matiang'i in the mountain. That's exactly how he played with Raila Odinga. He did everything for Raila Odinga, granted. But Uhuru never campaigned fully for Raila Odinga in the mountain. His handlers told him, you are a sitting president. Today, he's not a sitting president. Why can't he sell Matiang'i directly to the people? Because if he can't sell Matiang'i directly to the people, where do they expect the momentum to come from? Nowhere. And lastly, Jubilee as a political party is not easily acceptable in many parts of the republic. Matiang'i is projecting himself as a national leader with a national appeal. And because the rest of the country, most parts of the country, do not want to associate with Jubilee, it becomes very difficult to sell it. They might try, but it's going to be a bit tricky. Because remember, Jubilee was formed after Uhuru and Ruto won. They wanted a vehicle for 2022. So they formed Jubilee. And the idea behind Jubilee was that they were going to use the tyranny of numbers, which means their focus were primarily on the two tribes. That is the Kikuyu nation and the Kalenjin nation. And because of that tyranny of numbers, for them, it was about winning. So the rest of the country rallied around Raila, and Jubilee became their opponent. So the rest of the country are still viewing Jubilee as opponent. I don't know what you think, but for me, Fred Matiang'i can still revive himself. And he must, as a matter of urgency, do the following. The first thing he must do is to go out there fully and start associating himself with Jubilee.
Wakihesabu wakileta ujauri tunaleta, wakienda mbele tunaenda. Harambe! Mumesema namna gani? Eti namna gani? Wanaondoka. Niko na mtu hapa ambaye anafanya opinion poll last 1 month, kila wiki mbili, Nyansiongo, Ekerenyo, Nyamaia. There is no chance in hell ya mtu wa UDA kushinda hii kiti hata moja.
Not only during meetings. When there's a by-election, let him sponsor candidates through Jubilee. He must ask his allies, people like Onyonka, who are vocal about his split, to start selling Jubilee as a political party. He must go out and explain to the people why he chose Jubilee. Because when he explains it, it makes sense. He must do that. And importantly, they must work on a rebranding strategy. Not what Kalonzo did with Wiper. At the Wiper Democratic changed to what? Democratic Front. Wiper Democratic Party to Wiper Democratic Front. That's not rebranding. Rebranding is wholesome. Rebranding is wholesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to think. What would you advise Fred Matiang'i if you are to meet him today? Till next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.